Lake Mission Viejo offers a wide variety of fishing, including different species, trout, bass, catfish, bluegill. However, when fishing for any of these species, it is important to keep in mind what baits are permitted and what are prohibited. First off, we do not allow any preserved baits, any live bait, any food source items that can be brought from home. We do actually sell our own baits here. You can purchase night crawlers or bring your own night crawlers from somewhere else, but they must only be night crawlers. There are only live bait permitted here, or insects such as crickets. However, you can use plastic baits, any fake baits such as grubs, fake plastic worms, or swim baits, fake imitation baits. But the one thing to keep in mind is do not use any live bait or prohibited baits such as preserved items. Today we're going to focus on largemouth bass and the fishing we have here at Lake Mission Viejo. Largemouth bass, there's plenty of ways to fish for them, and whether you're a beginning angler or advanced angler, we're going to give you a couple tips on what to do and how to catch some fish out here today. We'll start with our spinning rod setup. This is a spinning reel with a rod combo. With the reel, you have your bail here, and that's how you make the cast. You flip that up and it releases the line. Also, it has a drag system at the top. You tighten this to the right to tighten your drag. That accounts for the amount of line that the fish can pull per pound for your line action. Or you can turn it to the left and loosen it. A common setup for the beginning angler would be to use just a night crawler setup that we sell here at the boat rentals office. Night crawlers can simply be attached to a hook and no other weight or anything on the rod. You just take the hook, a single hook, not even a treble hook, grab a night crawler, and you're just going to want to pin that right on the hook and then take it from the other end and double it up. And just like that, your hook is covered and you have a night crawler bait ready to set up and catch some bass. Another good bass fishing technique to use here at Lake Mission Viejo would be a drop shot setup. A drop shot setup consists of any bait. However, today we're going to focus on using a plastic worm as our bait on the drop shot. Essentially what the drop shot setup is you take a plastic worm and you attach that to a single hook. And the way you pin that on is make sure the hook is popping out and try to get it as straight as possible to line up on the hook. Now what's unique about this setup is that the weight is actually underneath the hook. And what you do here is your tag line allows the weight to hang underneath and you tie the weight on. And the reason for having the weight underneath is that the weight will sink down in the weeds because our lake is heavily dense in weeds on the bottom. With this weight, it'll sink down, leaving the worm right at the top of the weed line, allowing the bass to swim by and just grab it. Now, the way you fish this setup, just like any other setup on the drop shot, would be to cast it out and simply let it sit there and do minor twitches until you get that bass. Out here on the lake, we're gonna fish the drop shot setup I was talking about earlier. Usually you wanna fish this in more shallow waters or anywhere between 10 to 30 foot of water. Get it down there, you just wanna cast it out, just a little lob. Cast it out there, let it sink down to the bottom. Let it go down there, and then you're gonna wanna just give it a little tap, twitching it around every once in a while until you get that bite. We got a bass on here, just a little guy. We'll take him. Oh, I got a jumper. Look there. Nice little largemouth bass.